Yo, what's up, guys? American Mexican Gunslinger. Today I'm gonna go over well, I call it the gun loophole rabbit hole. It's like a goal hole. Man, I can't even talk right now. But anyways, I'm gonna keep going forward with this. It's more of a gun rabbit hole, kind of like the Matrix, follow the rabbit kind of thing. And it starts off with your good old, 4473. That's when we gun people get into the firearms and we want to get your handgun, your rifle, your shotgun, you know, all the, just the normal stuff, that's why it's a loophole. You know what I'm saying? You're starting off to follow the rabbit, slowly but surely getting to your freedoms of the Second Amendment. All right? So this is when it starts getting to, you know, complications. All right. I'm going to go to the next one real quick, you guys. All right. The Firearms Act, you guys. The Firearms Act. Okay. When it comes to this, you guys can read it for yourself on the screen. But this complicates things when we want to, you know, experience, better gun cultures when it comes to using our tools the way we want to use them. You know what I mean? And this bill infringes upon our Second Amendment rights of doing so. So, yeah, and this is when things get more complicated, you guys. The requirements. These are the requirements for these things, you guys. So it's gonna be up on the screen. You could read it for yourself, and I'm gonna leave descriptions below down the screen for you guys to read it for yourself when it comes to these things. But yeah, if you wanna get like a suppressor, short barrel shotgun, a short barreled rifle, a machine gun, all those fancy kind of things. Well, a lot of people don't know that you're gonna have to go through what I like to call the rabbit hole. You're gonna have to keep following the rabbit deep down this hole. Here you go. Here's a some demonstrations on what I'm talking about. The rabbit hole is that you can buy a AR pistol, and of course, you put an angled foregrip on it. It's still the same, including with the bipod. But once you add something like a vertical grip, it becomes an AOW, which it's just a whole another description of what a firearm is. And once you put a stock on it, of course it becomes an SBR. So these laws are kind of ridiculous, you guys. This shouldn't exist, but there we go. This is how the government infringes upon your rights. And here's an AR-15. The same length barrel is just one has a stock and one has a brace. What's the difference, Mr. Gunslinger? Well, one's for you to help, handicapped folks shoot an AR pistol more better stabilization, of course, and then the other one has a regular A2 stock, which makes it a SBR, and which is illegal, and you need a tax stamp for that, you guys. And this is why I say these laws are ridiculous, you guys. They just really are. It's just crazy. And here's with the shotguns too, you guys. It's not just with the rifles, the shotguns, as you guys can see. If you have a firearm is what they classify it as, which is not an NFA item. But once you put a pistol grip on it, it becomes an NFA item, an AOW, which you need, of course, a $5 tax stamp. And if you put a brace or a stock on it, it becomes a SBS, a short barreled shotgun, which you need a $200 tax stamp for that, of course. Man, it's just crazy. It's just crazy the way things are. Alright. And these are the ways that if I wanted a suppressor, how can I get one? So do so. Well, there's the list for you, you guys. The list is pretty hefty. I once was gonna do the process of receiving a suppressor, but I actually did not want to because I felt like giving my fingerprints, the Lord's creation, His signature upon my palms. I did not want to give that to the government, so I just denied it, and then I got my $200 tax stamp return, and I got partially of my money because, yeah, there is a fee for denying your transfer, you guys. So, okay, what about machine guns? Well, of course, you can obtain a machine gun, but you're going to have to go through that same process as with a suppressor. It's the same tax stamp and the same, NFA process, but there's only certain NFA registered machine guns out there, and there's only a few to obtain, which makes it be bullcrap because these things are readily stupid expensive and are only for the elite at this point. As you guys can see, when it comes to the registration and the process of receiving a suppressor or any of these NFA items, you have to go through this registry, you guys. So this registration, the and all these three-letter agencies can just look you up, but they literally own you. Like they have your identity, they own you, who you are, and that's why I backed out on these things. That's why I say it's you follow the rabbit. This is how deep you can get yourself into. How deep are you willing to give your own information out or your own freedoms just so you can own a piece of metal or a piece of equipment that's supposed to do the same thing that uh, a pistol's supposed to do compared to a SBR. You know what I'm saying? It's just something that you attach at the end of a rifle or the buffer tube or whatever, and somehow, some way, it becomes more dangerous for you to own it. But yeah, all these things that they view it as is, it's they want to protect the public. You know what I'm saying? Yes, right there you can own a machine gun. Yes, but there's only very few that are registered into the registration list. But here's the thing though, there's loopholes when it comes to these things where you don't have to chase the rabbit. You literally go outside eh, and set instead of following the deep rabbit hole, you guys, because you get yourself into this type of nonsense. It becomes more of a federal kind of situation to you, and you are being basically stalked and looked at 24/7. You know what I'm saying? And when it comes to these process, you always need to pay the government your extortion fee. You have to pay your $200 tax stamp in order for you to proceed to do the things that you as an American have the right to do so, but the government says you don't because you have to pay them in order for you to do what you need to do. You get what I'm saying? And that includes even possessing some of these items because some of these items you cannot possess in your own hands without government permission. That especially includes suppressors and machine guns because you can't just obviously just buy the assortments and just use it, but you have to go through these loopholes in order for you to obtain these things legally. And this is the thing though, that the government doesn't think that these criminals will get their hands on them or understand the laws. And that's why I'm going to do this video for you guys, so you guys don't have to chase that rabbit down that hole. You guys, there are loopholes outside chasing the white rabbit down the hole, you guys. And then it gets really deep because these are some areas where you are literally giving your life to the interference of the government, which they they feel like they have the mindset of classifying firearms in their own definitions, and I feel like that is infringing upon Americans' freedoms in the first place because um, ob- obtaining a firearm or even having a firearm is a right. It's not like driving a vehicle where a vehicle is a privilege to, drive a vehicle, but because it's not written in our rights, you know what I'm saying? But firearms are. And that's why this makes it 100% more different. Yeah, look, like who wants to do that? Who wants to kiss the government's ass and, sorry about my cussing, and give them $200 tax stamp for doing these things? It's just nonsense. It's ridiculous, and it just tells you how well and how deep they're willing to go to control even the gun community. And we, as the gun community as whole, we're separated beyond the recognition by secret occults and societies, and how people demonstrate themselves above and beyond other people, and then they recognize themselves that they're superior than others, and that's when the division comes in hand. And that's when, you know oh, I have more money than you, I can afford these things. You're a peasant, you can't afford these things. And it's just a thing that, oh, do I really want to be like that in affording these tools when, they're trying to put the Hush Act and trying to, take these things off the NFA items, but these things in general should be available to the public. It's not something that should be, where I need to do a 4473 and then get my background check and all these, that's still infringing upon your rights regardless of the situation. So, yeah, this is the crazy part about this world is the fact that this is all about government, you guys. It's all about control. They want to control you in one way or another. One day they can say, "Oh, everything's good," and another they can be like, "You're felons." And then that's the problem with this governmental situation is that they just want to control the people emotionally, physically, mentally, even financially, even when it comes to this $200 tax stamp extortion. But, as for the people, is that the government only knows certain things, you know what I'm saying? And the fact that there are so many criminals out there that have these tools in hands that the government supposedly doesn't know because they're involved with these things, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just gonna wrap it up. Thank you guys for watching, guys. I'm American Mexican Gunslinger. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys think about this video. I'm out. Don't follow that rabbit down the hole, man, because there are loopholes. Peace.